A grave warning out there, a call to arms to others. We got the president of Turkey, President Erdogan, president for life, has come out and called for nations of Islam to rise up together to confront Israel. Yes, friends, this is happening. We need to talk about this. Let's jump into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade. We cover the news stories out there that the mainstream media just either brushes under the rug or just kind of ignores. And friends, we have a major thing happening overseas. This does endanger U.S. personnel in Turkey as well as elsewhere. We've already had an attack on American service people over in, where was that? Izmir from the USS Wasp that we talked about last week. We got big things happening out there, and of course this is putting a lot of pressure on the nation of Israel, which is its true intended target. Turkey is becoming a loose cannon, friends. It's a big deal. Let's get into it. All right, so President Erdogan was at an Islamic Schools Association, and he was giving a speech. Now, to give you kind of an idea, President Erdogan has been kind of had a reputation for being a president for life, of course, of a Muslim country, but he was relatively non-religious. Okay, he was more focused in on integrating Turkey with the European Union and getting along with Europe than it was about connecting with all the wonderful people of the Middle East. This has brought a lot of prosperity to his country, but the problem is that even though some of the big cities like Izmir and much more so Constantinople, or modern-day Istanbul, which is actually the same name. It's actually just a derivative of the name. Anyway, some people are like, you shouldn't call it Istanbul because you should call it Constantinople. Well, that last part of Inopol is Istanbul. Sounds the same because it is the same. It's just a shortened form of Constantinople. Anyway, and they took Constantine off. Anyway, so he has a problem that these major cities are rather secular, but the rest of the country is full of Taliban types. So he's been forced, some would say, but others would say that he has led them into being a much more radical Muslim country. And he's been encouraging that nationalism, this love for Islam. And they've definitely been moving that direction away from Europe, away from the United States, and more towards Middle Eastern countries. So he said this. He said, the Islamic countries should form an alliance against what he says, the growing threat of expansionism from Israel. Quote, the only step that will stop Israeli... Now, these quotes are coming from the Times of Israel newspaper, so that's where we're getting these from. But they're accurate. The only step that will stop the Israeli arrogance, Israeli banditry, and Israeli state terrorism is the alliance of Islamic countries. And if that sounds like a really scary, bad idea, it is. It is a really bad idea. And if you're really astute, you'll be hearing in that and go, that sounds awfully similar to what Iran is saying. Iran formed, I always want to call them the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, but they're not. They're the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. And as Iran's government has clearly said, their religious government, the Ayatollah, has clearly said that the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps doesn't belong to Iran, it belongs to Islam. That sounds kind of similar to what Erdogan here is saying in Turkey. That they need to come together, all the Islamic countries, to oppose Israel. That's basically exactly what Iran has been saying. And Iran has sent their Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps into Gaza, into West Bank. It's harder for them to get in there, and into Hezbollah areas of Lebanon and Syria, and to fight in Syria and Iraq in order to bring this revolution, this Islamic revolution of fundamentalism, to eradicate the nation states that are problematic. First, it was to expel the United States troops out of Iraq, and now is to get rid of the non-Islamic state of Israel. And that's what they're doing. And now Turkey is saying something along the same lines. And it's not just all talk. The president of Turkey has just recently had the president of Egypt visit. And he had the president of Iran back in January visit. Both these were unprecedented visits that haven't happened in decades, and really shows you that he's serious. This guy really wants to help form an Islamic NATO, so to speak. And he wants to make Gaza a member state. He wants to make the West Bank a member state. He wants to make Lebanon a member state. He's approaching Syria. And Turkey and Syria don't get along. I mean, Turkey has kind of invaded has kind of invaded Syria. And Syria's really kind of upset about that. And Turkey just doesn't really care. Turkey has the largest standing army in the Middle East. Turkey has a better equipped and bigger army than Iran, than Iraq, than Syria, than Egypt. Turkey's got a big honkin' military, and it's been trained up to NATO standards, so it's not only is it big, but it is capable. Now, it's not as capable as some other Western powers, but it surely can do quite a bit. And it's equipped with U.S. weaponry and equipped with Russian weaponry because nobody wanted to tell them no. So they're building bridges with Egypt. They're building bridges with Syria. They're building bridges with Iran. And Turkey is Sunni and Iran is Shia. So these two groups do not get along ever. But we're seeing right now their goals are aligning with each other. And what we're seeing right now is Iran is organizing all the Shia into an anti-Israel coalition. And now Erdogan sounds like he's trying to form a Sunni coalition to face off against Israel that can partner up with the Shia. Friends, the only reason we haven't had more 9/11s is because the Sunni and the Shia have been too busy fighting each other. If they get together on something, that's going to be much more trouble for everybody involved. He said this, he said, Hamas is not only defending Gaza, it is defending Islamic lands and, in fact, Turkey. He sees Hamas as defending Turkey's interests because they're Islamic lands. This has been the fundamental problem that Muslims have had with Israel from the very get-go. The fact that Jewish settlers bought land with cash. Nobody forced anybody to sell. They bought with cash from the people that are called Palestinians, people that were living there, mostly Muslims, who took it by force from the Christians. So I think what we really need is the Muslims to pay reparations to the Christians. But anyway, of course, the Christians would then have to pay reparations to the to the Jews. And then the Jews would have to pay reparations to the Canaanites. But, of course, there's no Canaanites left because they wiped them out. Anyway, let's play reparations roulette. It'll be fun. The only people that want reparations are the people that don't actually know history, because anyone else knows that that's just dumb. Now, this is not unrelated to the plot to kill the Pope in Indonesia. There's a plot to kill the Pope? Yeah. Now, you may not care so much because the Pope is a crazy person who is a woke nonsense peddler. And it seems kind of fitting that the people that he paints as victims and has tried to, he has peddled so much in order to make the ISIS Islamic people happy. It's kind of ironic that they tried to kill him. But obviously we're against that, and it shouldn't happen. But it has. Now, this is ISIS-inspired, apparently. And, of course, as we say ISIS, we have to say that's basically Turkey's flavor. Not only because they're both because they're both Sunni, but the fact is that ISIS and Turkey go way back. They're best of buds. You may not have read this in any of the newspapers, and this was not widely reported. However, having been to the Turkish-Syrian border and knowing people in that area, people who know everybody in that area, I can tell you without any shadow of a doubt that Turkey was actively working with ISIS. ISIS freely crossed the Syrian-Turkish border, guarded by the Turkish military. When they were in attacks and when they were losing and they're backed up against the Turkish border, the Turkish border guards and military allowed them to pass into Turkey unmolested, travel through Turkey, and then pop out into another part of Syria and launch a counterattack. This happened multiple times. Multiple times, ISIS was fighting, and then they retreated back into Turkey, were protected by the Turkish military, while they regrouped, rearmed. Yes, they were getting armed in Turkey. So I know Turkey is out there always making noises about how they're part of the coalition to fight against ISIS. No. Anybody who knows the stuff that goes on over there in the northern Syrian area knows that beyond a shadow of a doubt that Turkey has been actively colluding with ISIS, actively supporting ISIS. And so when there's an ISIS-inspired attack on the Pope, believe you me when I say they're Turkey's flavor. Okay? Now, we won't even get into, for the sake of this video, into the talk of Turkey joining Brics, but that's a big deal there too. Turkey is pivoting away from Europe, pivoting away from NATO and the United States, and pivoting towards the sandbox, right? To all those nations in the Middle East that are more concerned about Israel than they are about, economic prosperity. They're more concerned about retribution and justice and bringing the future imams and Islamic prophecy into play and usher in the end times by destroying Israel so that their Mahdi can come back from the bottom of the well or whatever. Turkey is drinking down this opium-laced Turkish tea like nobody's business. And President Erdogan, as we would say, dictator for life is more accurate. It's amazing how his political opponents just disappear and get locked up and all the sorts of things that you'd expect in an American election. happening, right? So we have President Erdogan is taking this hard right turn, and I mean that in all the bad senses of it. It is a conservative, nationalistic, Islamic turn that is happening right now in Turkey, and it is a major, like I said, biggest military in the Middle East, and they are going full ISIS. Not full ISIS yet, but they're going that direction. They're like, these ISIS guys, they actually have some good ideas. Let's implement some of them. And is it any wonder that American soldiers in Izmir start getting attacked on the streets? Friends, I've known this for a long time, having spent some time in eastern Turkey and like I said, up against the Syrian border. We won't talk all the reasons why, all that. But most people who have any experience with Turkey have experience in Istanbul or other major cities. They don't have experience out in the country, where the people think more along the lines of Saudi Arabia than they do Paris. Now, when you go to Istanbul, you're like, wow, this feels like a European country. Yeah, it does. It does. It's really nice. It's really nice. The Turkish coffee makers and all, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Then you go out to some of these smaller towns and smaller cities, and you hear the calls to prayer, and everybody stops everything to pray. Everybody. Because they are all about that stuff. They take it very desperately serious. And the conflict between them and even the government forces is very real. The ethnic strife, very real. And if you think those people are ready for NATO and sipping lattes at Paris cafes, you have got another thing coming. You got another thing coming. They see more in line with ISIS than they do with European rainbow stuff. I don't even want to know what happened to some person that tried flying a rainbow flag in eastern Turkey. Like that, they would find an appropriate building to throw them off. Let's just put it that way. Okay? Turkey is not really our friend, but they have had an autocratic government that has held the people in line at the barrel of a machine gun and armored cars. The secular government has kept the people in line for a long time, and now President Erdogan has made this hard turn and is starting to play up to his base, to the base of the country. And friends, it's getting downright scary. He already threatened just a month or two ago, threatened to invade Israel. And I told you, this guy is not the same guy he used to be. And the direction he is moving in is scary. And with them joining Brics at the end of this year probably, this is going to be them pivoting away from the United States and towards Russia, China, and all the axis of evil, as President Bush would put it, right? Not that we put much stake in him or in Cheney, who have both, along with Putin, endorsed Kamala Harris for president. All right, friends, if you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.